Hello, my name is Sarah. Welcome to the It is a Sarah podcast. Today it is Monday, May 25, 2026, and in this episode I want to share my handwerk perikelen. That's a Dutch word for my creative adventures from the last week with you. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I make my episodes in Dutch and in English. They are not similar, but you can watch them both with subtitles if you want to. If you miss subtitles in a specific language, please let me know and I will check if I can add them afterwards. Before I will start today's episode, you are watching some footage I already shared on Instagram this week. Little snippets of my daily life, my creative daily life, and a little bit of my hiking life. There's also much I don't share. I really love making those little tiny video diaries. One of my fun things I did do this week was celebrating the birthday of a knitting friend in the knitting shop, in the yarn store. I never had a birthday party in the yarn store, but it was absolutely a heart-jumping thing to do. Okay, hello. It is a very warm Monday in the Netherlands. Summer suddenly arrived. I think it is around 30 degrees, not yet. It is quite early in the morning, so I'm okay, still okay. But that's the reason why I'm not wearing so many layers. And it always feels a little bit uncomfortable to show up on YouTube. It feels as if I'm underdressed, but it's really all I can handle on those hot summer days. And it is one of my favorite knitting patterns, so I wanted to show it anyway. But there's a lot of skin and yeah, I always need to get used to that after a winter with one layer added on another layer and an extra layer. I feel more comfortable in that. I want to share two finished items which I was mainly focused on this week. A dress, that's a sewing item, a sewn garment, and a crochet vest. And I have some other things I want to share with you today. Because the weather forecast, forecasted hot summer weather, I really wanted a new outfit for the weekend. We had some appointments, a birthday party and another party, not just fun things, not really special, where you need to show dressed up completely. That was not the case, but because the weather changed suddenly, I really wanted to add some new items to my wardrobe. So I decided I wanted to sew a skirt. I bought some lovely linen fabric at Linengraphy, I think, on Etsy a few months ago. It was actually my plan to sew a hinterland dress out of it, and I thought I would be able to make a dress and a skirt out of it. And my plan was start with the hinterland dress, check the drape of the fabric, and then decide if a skirt also will be alright and which kind of skirt. Songbirdskirt was in my mind, but I didn't know if the fabric had enough drape. That was actually a good plan, but I didn't follow it because the weather would be warm and I really wanted a longer skirt. And yeah, the fabric, I love it. I'm wearing it for the third day in a row and I love it. But the fabric is a little bit more heavy as I thought. So yeah, it is heavy. It is a skirt, a thick skirt, but it's wearing pretty comfortable during hot summer weather and I love the look. It was really, again, an interesting sewing process. I don't really love the process of sewing my garments, but I really want to sew them. So I think I'm a product sewer at the moment. I am searching for a way to enjoy the process more. One of the things I was really struggling with was embracing my sloppy sewing style. I am a sloppy sewer, but I have very strong thoughts. You are supposed to sew nice and neat. So that's not matching, and especially when you sew with checked fabric, it is a challenge to keep the check straight. But the interesting thing is I have sewn checked garments before with not paying attention to the straight checks because my skills were not there yet, and I don't bother at all that the checks are wonky. So I really needed to let go the strong thoughts that it needed to be nice and neat, that it just can happen. That was a challenge, but I made it. I'm happy with it. I love to wear a longer skirt. I love the fabric, the feeling of the fabric flowing against my legs. And one specific thing I love at this pattern, it is a So Liberated pattern. They have a discount at the moment, I realized, because it's Me Made May, I guess. I love their patterns, but I don't know anything about sewing. I just love their style. I have the hinterland dress and the Songbirdskirt. One of the things I really love, specifically at this pattern are the pockets. They are really deep. So yeah, I love pockets. I love to put my hands in my pockets, also my keys, sometimes my phone, but yeah, I just love the feeling of good pockets. And yeah, so I'm really happy with how it came out. There is not enough fabric left to make an hinterland dress, a little bit, and I am thinking of making short pants. I don't wear short pants, but I can imagine they would be nice for camping, maybe for hiking. But also, I sleep in my underwear, and when you are camping and you need to go to the toilet in the middle of the night, of course you can put on a skirt or something else, but a short pants would be great as well. So I never made a short pants. I have the pattern of the Chanterelle pants, and they have a short version as well, so I will use that. The other thing I was working on, also for the weekend, I thought it would be nice to have something new to wear, which I didn't because it still was too warm, was a Happy Granny vest. This pattern will come out on June 21. It is the first design of one of my friends, and she is a knitter and a crocheter, and I really love the granny stitch. It's my favorite crochet stitch. I love granny squares, and this is also a very nice item. It's very simple, it is very wearable, you can play with it. I made a striped version. I'm making a third one with one stripe, and I also wanted to make a plain one in a cotton linen fabric. This is Fonty Boheme. I'm pretty sure it's a discontinued yarn. I love the feeling of it, and yeah, just a plain black one, which I can add. I look a little bit more decent this way. I added a little border, which I love, but I will deep dive into my granny vest, into my happy granny vests, when the pattern will be released, and I will show you all I made and all the details, and I will tell you more about it. But I think I will keep wearing it because it feels a little bit more comfortable. But I didn't tell anything about what I'm wearing. Let's do that first. This is my Remi camisole. It's a pattern by Caidree, and I think this is one of my favorite summer garments. It is front and back are the same. It is knitted top down. You start with knitting 4 triangles. The border is involved, so you don't have to pick up any stitches, and from this point you are knitting knit 2, purl 2 in the round. And I love that. It's a DK weight pattern, and I knitted it with a Langyarns yarn, which was gifted to me by then, and I cannot remember the exact yarn, but I will link down my pattern page down below in the show notes so you can check. I love the feeling of the yarn. The only thing with plant fibers is when you wash them, they look washed. I don't have that same experience with woolly yarns, but when you, the plant fiber, they get a little bit more mop, and it is a thing. But it wears lovely, so I definitely want to make more. I'm really into the summer tops at the moment. Yesterday I had a knitting day with 2 friends. And one of my friends asked me if I could bring some summer tops and summer yarn. And we made an episode together with the 3 of us. You can watch it, my Dutch episode is that. And also a little part at the YouTube channel of one of my friends. But we chat a lot about summer patterns and summer yarn. So I really feel the summer vibes right now. Also because of the weather, of course. And I thought this week I will focus on my test knit for Ronja, Hakaletho. I thought it was Hakaletho, but it's Hakaletho. I still don't pronounce it correct, I think, but it was my plan to cast it on this week, but it didn't happen because I was focusing on other projects and I didn't have much knitting time, but I will start that this week. The point with top-down summer tops is that quite often there is happening something at the upper part, and when you join knitting in the round, you knit in the round. And the Wildflower top I will test for Ronja has some lace and cables involved, so it will need a little bit more of attention. But I also have quite some patterns. The Remi camisole, they are just actually pretty boring. The upper part is fun. I also am a big fan of the Sporti tanks. They have the same, it's a bit similar, only a higher neck, and the fingering weight yarn. A little bit attention for the increasing at the upper part, and then when you joint in the round, it will become an easy knit. Stockinette or knit to purl to, which you can bring with you, and it will be perfect for social knitting or when you are on the road or whatever. So I really feel the need to cast on some of those summer items this week. I don't know if I can make it, but I feel the need. And I brought one of my favorite tops. This is the May top. It is by Asita Crepes. It's a little bit folded because I did wear it this weekend and I tuck it in my skirt. This is also a top-down pattern, and a high neckline. I love it. I think this is a knit 3 purl 3 rib. I knitted it in silk, knitting for olive silk, and I love the feeling of it. It looks a little bit messy in my eyes, and yeah, I always try to provide. I am a messy knitter, so that's a little bit hard when your knitting looks messy. I have the dancing stitches, I'm a loose knitter. The silk yarn is not forgivable. Woolly yarns are forgivable, plant fiber yarns are not forgivable, but still I love it. The fun part is happening at the front, the lace, and the rest is pretty easy. So I really want to cast on one of this, and I am doubting between 2 yarns. I don't have a big summer yarn stash. compared to my winter stash, my woolly stash. I don't have many plant fiber yarns. I have a few. This one is a discontinued, I guess. This is Lang Yarns Lisa, and it's a mix from wool, merino wool, viscose, bamboo viscose, and silk. And I have 3 skeins and 3 balls, 50-gram balls, and I think it will be enough for this one. I also have knitting for olive merino cotton. So there is merino involved in both of those, but I think that's okay. In a little bit of a greenish browny color. It's the color ochre brown. And yeah, it might be nice. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I will knit a sporty tank and a May top. But I didn't decide which one I will pick for which one. I think I might go for this one for the May top, because I think the lace part, it will look very romantic. So yeah, maybe I will make it this way, but I'm not sure. I also dyed something, and not yarn dyeing, but dyeing with a dye I bought in store, and I don't do it pretty often because it's not really good for nature, but I did dye in my washing machine. I have this Sommerknus top. It's also crinkled and folded. It was orange. I made it a few years ago, and it's the only round yoke which fits me well, but the color orange was not... I love the color, but I don't like to wear it. Not quite often, so I was not wearing it, so I decided to dye it espresso brown. Let me put it on. This is also knitted in Fonty Bohème, which is a cotton linen blend, and I love the yarn. When you wash it, it will feel different. It's with cotton. I think it's the cotton, but it might be the linen. It gets a little bit stiff, and the top was actually very flowy and soft. And after washing it, I did try to do that careful. I washed it on 40 degrees because I was not sure how the dye would catch on 30 degrees. And I think after wearing it, it will soften up, but it's a little bit of a problem when a tee is so close to my armpits. I only wear it for one day and then I want to wash it. So I don't do that with my woolly items. I hardly wash them. But with the summer items, I feel the need more. I am sweaty under my armpits, so yeah. And I don't like it when it's not fresh. But I think I am happy. I haven't checked in the mirror even. I am happy with the outcome. It will be a top for a little lower temperature, but I think it's okay. And I think it was a good decision to dye it brown. There is still a little bit of a glow over it, which I can't really describe. It seems a little bit orange, a little bit yellow. I'm not pretty sure, but I think it's perfect and I feel comfortable in it. So I feel that it softens up immediately when I'm wearing it, so that gives me hope that this will be a nice addition to my summer wardrobe. Later this week I think temperatures will be lower, so then I am able to wear this. This is the Sommerknus pattern. It's a pattern by Elsebeth Judith. I knit it on 2.5mm needles, the smallest size. I will link down below my project page, and in my notes there's also a link to the YouTube episode when I made this a few years ago. And I really loved knitting this, and I have no idea why this round yoke fits me well. I checked the numbers and I checked the construction and I compared it with other round yoke patterns, but I can't see it. I don't know what it is, but I really feel good in this, so I am really happy. I did dye. I also dyed a swatch. This is a fabric swatch. Last year I bought this beautiful piece of rusty orange fabric. It was my plan to sew a songbird skirt with it as well, but it's not my color. I love the color, but I only love to wear it every now and then, and I don't love sewing enough to make items I want to wear every now and then. I only want to make items I want to wear every day. So I thought maybe I can cut a little piece and I can add it to my dyeing process to see how the dye will catch and turn it into a dark brown piece, and it worked. So I will dye this dark brown, and I have plans to combine some sewing patterns to turn it in a longer summer dress. And also my biggest challenge will be finding peace and happiness in the sewing process. And I think I can reach that by dividing it in small steps. When I'm sewing, I'm always in a hurry because I can finish it in a few hours. It's an option. That's not with knitting or crochet, but with sewing it is. And I get in a hurry and I'm messy and yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel nice and relaxed. So my plan is to divide this whole process from the dyeing to the finishing into small steps I can take every now and then, and I hope that I feel satisfied and happy about the process. Yeah, we shall see. I will keep you updated. I don't know when I start. I don't have the dye, so that's the first step. Go to the store. I don't like going to the store. I try to avoid that as much as possible. The only stores I love visiting are yarn shops. Okay. There's one thing. I will change my outfit because it's too warm already. It's a little bit hard to see what the inside and the outside are. Maybe I need to mark it, but I can see it. The little eye cords at the front. They are my checkpoints. Okay. One thing which is not going very well is my Northeasterly blanket. This is my scrappy blanket. It's my memory blanket. This is my longest work in progress. I cast it on years ago. I don't know actually which year, but I have a problem with it right now. I really love, every time I knitted a pair of socks or another project with a fingering weight yarn, I add it to my basket so I can knit a little piece of the yarn into my memory blanket, and I love that idea. I really need to check how my needles are. But I made a mistake with the columns, because this is actually the beginning of the blanket. Let me show it to you. I love it! I decided that I want to make a one person's bed size, and the stripes will be this way, horizontal. So the width of the blanket is about the size which is needed for a one person's bed blanket, and yeah, I will add stripes until I have reached the right length. And I started, you knit it vertical. I started at this point. This blue yarn is the first, this is the start of my Northeasterly blanket. It's a pair of socks I knitted for my husband by then. As you probably see, it's not the start of the blanket anymore. Something's happening right here. So I connected a new column. Yeah, every time I finished, I reached the correct length. But at some point I made a mistake. I added this column at the wrong side. So this column is my most recent column, and it should be connected to the other side of the blanket, but I didn't notice that I was knitting it on the first column, and it is pointing in the other direction, as you can see. And then I got an error because I didn't like the idea. I loved that the corner was my beginning of blanket, but I also didn't like the idea of ripping out the column. I was quite far already and started over at the other part. So I decided, okay, it can be my Sarah sauce. I'm an imperfect perfectionist, although I'm trying to be. So this will be my personal touch. And I finished the column, so it ends right here, this way. And I didn't really know what to do then. And yeah, there were different options. And I thought, okay, maybe it is nice when I just work the other way from this part. So all the columns will be connected. The middle column, this will be a middle column, and I will go the right size again, but I don't know if you can see it when you are joining the columns. Yeah, this is actually the wrong side. So the join should be at the back side, but when I'm knitting it this way, it is at the front side, and I don't like that. So then the whole process dropped. Do you say that? No, it slowed down. Nothing was happening anymore. I don't know if you recognize it when you made a mistake in a project, or you don't know, then the project slows down and you need some time to decide. That's the reason why I love to have so many. That's one of the reasons why I love to have so many projects on my needles, so I can take the time to think and work on another project during that thinking process. I think I know right now, but I'm also curious what you would do. I think I will just rip this out, work further on the other side, and then do what I am supposed to do in the same direction all the time. And my final column I will do this way as well. So it is actually a little bit of a border. So the outer columns, or actually the upper column and the bottom column, because the blanket will be this way, they point into the other direction. The only thing, it's not chronological anymore. I really loved the chronologic in my blankets. I always check my notebook, my knitting book, and my project pages to do it in the right order. And my Miss Perfect has a little bit of a struggle with handling that it's not chronologic anymore. But on the other side, it's a nice reminder to the imperfect perfectionist I want to be. So I am pretty sure I want to do that, but I thought, let's show it in a podcast. Maybe you have some nice suggestions, some nice ideas. And I can take that with me in my process of making a decision. This was it for today. Short episode, I guess, but I really am looking forward to some nice, lovely knitting time. I knitted mainly on socks the past days because I had a busy weekend, a social weekend, and sock knitting is a social knitting project I really love, but now I am really feeling the need for a little bit of a more challenging knitting project. So the Wildflower top, my test knit, would be perfect for that, will be perfect for that. So after finishing editing this episode, I will sit and knit. I think that's the perfect thing to do when it's very hot outside. I don't think I need to do anything else today. A little bit doing laundry and all those kind of things in the house, but keeping my pace very slow is really helpful when it's warm. I'm not made for this weather. When temperatures are above 25 degrees, I don't feel comfortable in my body anymore. So I really need to calm down to not get overheated, because I get overheated pretty quickly. We don't have air conditioning or something. Yeah, it's okay. You don't really need that in the Netherlands. Normally I'm quite busy and I love being busy, but not when it's hot summer weather. So knitting is the perfect thing to do. I won't complain. This was it for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful week filled with a lot of heart jumping moments. If you can't find them, create them. because we need them. Bye bye!
Heel super. Kijk maar, kom jij?